Hey everyone, and welcome to another deep dive with us. Today we're going way back to 1996.
Oh, wow. 96.
Yeah, to a paper published in the Educational and Psychological Measurement Journal
Okay.
by Aquinas.
Like the beer.
Yeah, exactly like the beer, Balmer and Pierce.
Okay.
And it's all about how computers were, even back then,
Right.
starting to change research.
Hmm.
So what's really cool about this paper is it kind of predicted a lot of the things that researchers are dealing with even today.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Like what?
Well, it's about this new computer program
Okay.
that was supposed to make it easier to study moderating effects.
Moderating effects. I've heard that term, but...
Yeah, it's kind of a fancy way of saying
Yeah,
it.
what does that even mean?
Well, it means how different things can, affect each other,
Okay.
but in more complicated ways.
So not just like, if you do this, then this will happen.
Right, it's more like, well, if you do this, and this other thing is also happening,
Oh, I see.
then this might happen.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
So it's like adding another layer of complexity.
So where do the computers come in?
Well, back then, a lot of research was done with,
Paper and pencil.
yeah, exactly. Paper questionnaires, multiple choice answers.
Yeah, I've definitely taken a few of those.
Like those scales, strongly agreed to strongly disagree with only 5 options.
Yeah. Those get a little old after a while.
And the problem is,
You can't really say what you really think.
exactly, you're trying to fit your complicated thoughts into these tiny little boxes.
Right, and everybody's different.
Right,
Like, what if my agree is a little different from your agree?
exactly. And that's what this paper called scale coarseness.
Scale coarseness, okay.
Means those limited choices can mess up the data.
Oh, interesting. So this computer program, was it like the first online survey or something?
Well, it was definitely a pioneer, let's put it that way.
Okay, I like that.
One of the cool things it did was, instead of just picking a number on a scale,
Yeah.
you could actually click and drag a marker on a line.
Oh, that's cool.
So you could be way more precise
Hmm.
with your answer.
I see. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Gets rid of that scale coarseness problem.
Yeah, and you know how with paper surveys, you have to transfer all the data by hand?
Oh, yeah, and that can be a pain, and you can mess it up pretty easily.
Exactly. This program stored the answers digitally right away.
Oh, wow. So it was more accurate and saved time. That's pretty neat.
It really was a big step forward.
Yeah.
And on top of that, it was way more flexible for the researchers.
Oh, how so?
Well, they could customize the questions and the format
Okay.
to fit their needs, which wasn't possible with paper surveys.
That's cool. So it wasn't just about convenience. It actually opened up new possibilities for research.
Exactly. It wasn't just about making things easier. It was about doing things better and asking more interesting questions.
So did it actually have a big impact on the field?
Oh, absolutely.
How so? It really did,
Yeah.
because by getting rid of that scale coarseness problem,
Right.
researchers could get much better data.
So it's like you're seeing the full picture now, not just a blurry version.
Yeah, exactly. And because the data was better,
Oh, right.
the research findings were more reliable, more insightful.
That makes sense. So it sounds like this program was pretty groundbreaking.
Oh, it definitely was.
Did it cause any, controversy back then?
It definitely got people talking.
Yeah.
I mean, some researchers were a little hesitant,
They were like, stick to the old ways.
Yeah, something like that. They thought traditional methods were still good enough,
Right.
but a lot of other researchers, they saw how powerful computers could be.
It's funny how that same debate is still going on today.
Yeah, it really is.
Technology's always changing research.
And what's even cooler about this paper is
Yeah.
it wasn't just about the technical stuff,
Right.
The authors are really thinking about the big picture.
How research itself could change.
Exactly. They thought this technology could help researchers ask bigger, more ambitious questions. That's pretty forward thinking for 1996. It really is. And in a way, they were right.
Yeah.
Think about all the data we collect now with computers.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
Online surveys, social media, you name it.
It's mind-blowing.
We're living in a data-driven world, and this paper was part of that shift.
So how did this one program end up influencing research today?
Well, it's hard to say exactly what its direct impact was,
Right.
but it was definitely part of a bigger movement
Yeah.
that showed everyone how computers could make research better.
It planted a seed that grew into this whole digital research landscape.
Exactly. It wasn't just about one program. It was about changing the way people thought about research.
So even though this paper's pretty old now,
Yeah.
it still has some important lessons for researchers today.
Oh, absolutely.
Like what?
Well, it reminds us to be open to new ideas, to try new things.
Not be afraid to experiment.
Exactly. and to always be looking for better ways to do research.
You keep pushing the boundaries.
Yeah, and to think critically about the tools we use.
So just because it's new and fancy doesn't mean it's good.
Right. We have to be careful about that.
This paper is like a snapshot of a really important moment in research.
Yeah.
When technology was starting to change everything.
And that change is still happening today.
It makes you wonder what's next.
It really does.
I mean, can you imagine what a Gwyneth, Balmer, and Pierce would think if they could see research today?
It's wild, right? I mean, we've gone from like floppy disks and kilobytes to the cloud and terabytes.
Oh, that's crazy.
It really is. But you know what's interesting?
Right.
Even though the technology has changed so much, that basic question from their paper is still relevant.
Like how to use technology responsibly.
Exactly. It's not enough to just have powerful tools.
Right.
We have to use them in a way that gets us real trustworthy knowledge.
So it's not just about collecting tons of data.
Right.
It's about making sure we're analyzing it the right way.
Exactly. Think about all the data we have now.
Oh my gosh, it's everywhere.
It really is. Online stuff, sensor data, experiments, everything.
It's overwhelming.
It is. It's like this huge gold mine.
Yeah.
But we need to figure out how to actually mine it, you know?
Like how to find the good stuff.
Exactly. And that's the real challenge.
So we need to ask good questions.
Yeah.
Be aware of biases and know the limits of our data.
It's a lot to think about.
It is. So it's like a Gwyneth, Balmer, and Pierce back in '96.
Yeah.
They kind of started something big.
They opened the door, but there's still so much to do.
It's amazing how that one paper from so long ago
I know.
still has so much to teach us today.
It really does. And you know, as technology keeps changing,
Right.
we need to keep rethinking how we do research.
Always adapting, always learning.
Exactly. This deep dive has been a trip, hasn't it?
It really has, going back to 1996.
Yeah.
Seeing how this computer program changed research.
And how it's still relevant today.
Yeah. But you know, technology never stops, so he knows what's next.
That's the exciting part. But no matter what new tools we have, we have to remember those lessons from Gwyneth, Balmer, and Pierce.
Like what?
Like being precise, being innovative, and using technology the right way.
To really push the boundaries of what we know.
That's what it's all about.
Well, that's it for this deep dive.
Thanks for listening.
And keep exploring, everyone.